Billy!
Hey! It's Jesse.
Just reading at your house. God damn.
Yeah, it's a little school chair.
Alright.
Listen now. Okay?
You understand, I'm much taller than Billy, but he stuck me in this little tiny chair so he could look down at me, and then I get in here and look what happens.
Yeah. Well,
You know, and it's like...
use your core.
Yeah.
Okay? Have you been doing crunches? Jesus Christ.
Not at all.
What's up, Jess? What's going on, man?
Man, it is always a pleasure.
Good to see you.
It is always a pleasure.
Good to see you.
I'm glad to be here.
How long are you here for?
Just for a few days. In Washington, D.C.?
Yeah, Washington D.C.
Yeah, the capital of this country.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're from Canada.
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm back and living in Canada again now.
Are you?
Yeah.
When people ask me about you, and there have been people who've asked me about you, like people we played basketball with, remember we used to play basketball?
Yes,
What's up
yes.
with Jesse? And they go, what does Jesse do? You know? And I always answer, he's an international man of mystery.
He never told me.
Well, you haven't told me, but I also said that you're an international man of mystery. Is that true?
No, not for me. Apparently for others.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
no.
so what do you do?
I figured myself out.
Yeah?
Yeah,
So
completely.
it's not a mystery.
No mystery.
To you.
No, not to me.
the rest of us.
Not to me.
Okay.
Yeah. What do I do? I'm telling stories through video. So sometimes they're 30 minutes, sometimes they're 90 minutes. And so I guess I'm a documentary filmmaker at this point. But according to Google, I'm a video journalist because most of my work up till now has been video journalism. So yeah, which is shorter pieces with less in-depth stories and less music and less interesting stuff.
And when we met about 4 years ago, you were working with the Real News Network.
The Real News Network.
And are you still with?
I'm no longer with the Real News Network. I wish the project nothing but the best, but I needed to move to longer stories. You know, I needed more time to tell stories in their completeness. Sometimes I feel like journalism, not the Real News specifically, but journalism in general, you end up telling stories without the stories.
Right.
You know, and that's why you have to say facts and figures. You know, that's why you have to say like, oh, you know, 142 human rights violations, instead of picking like 2 of those violations and like really getting in and telling that story.
So this is not, you know, what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to add like a laugh track and a whole studio thing back there.
Because otherwise you're not going to laugh. You're not going to know when to laugh because there's no real jokes
Not
here.
just a laugh track, but an applause track so you know when we've said something profound. I mean, do you hear it right now? Can you hear it?
Yeah, when you said applause track, it just went off.
Right there. Was it 09 you were in Honduras for the coup?
And the resistance to the coup.
And the resistance to the coup.
Yeah.
And the election.
Yes.
The supposed
elections.
Right, exactly. There's some really cool footage. I'm going to make sure that we post that up around this time. Should be.
Both major presidential candidates were supporters of the June 28th coup that ousted President Manuel Zelaya and divided Honduran society. Meanwhile, the movement that rose in resistance to the coup called for a boycott of the polls.
La democracia está destruida y en esta ocasión solamente va a ir a votar aquel que es partidario del golpe de Estado.
The resistance continues. They have what you might call committees, local committees in every one of Honduras' 298 municipalities. They're organizing a political party for the next elections, while they continue to organize against, you know, specific issues like, you know, whether it be the selling off of the water for dams or whether it be for like getting land reform for all the hundreds of thousands of landless farmers, which is what my main 90-minute project is about that I'm working on right now.
Okay, and the president, Lobo?
The current president is Lobo. He's recognized as president despite having never won an election. That's the current state of things. They're going to go into another election in November, which will be 4 years. You know, it's like, and the process continues. It's still a coup in construction. This is why the way we're taught history is absolute nonsense, right? Because it's like, oh, the Honduran coup happened on June 28th, 2009. It's like, no, that was just a key moment in a project. You know, like a long historical project to make sure that people don't get control over their own resources and their own future.
And I mean, so exactly what you said. To tell the story, you go there, and you do what they call hard journalism, something that really is kind of being lost, I think. Do you agree with like the new media kind of stuff? Like, you know, people have blogs and stuff. We really just kind of reference links to other things.
Yeah.
But you actually go in and get stories.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to like glorify the old journalism as having been like this great investigative work and stuff like that. Like, I feel like if we go back in time and we watch the newsreels of NBC from the 1950s, we're not going to see like in-depth work on what life was like in poor neighborhoods in the US or something. I don't feel like we get that. And it was, I think it was refreshing if people saw this documentary called Black Power Mixtape, to see how the Swedish journalists were actually getting in and doing the kind of work that US journalists were not doing. During that period, you know what I mean? Trying to tell the stories of the Black Panthers and like find out what had pushed them to such radical action and stuff like this, you know, so I don't want to glorify what past journalism was like. It's certainly the truth that journalists have tighter timelines today, but they also have better resources for getting information. So like the internet makes your work so much better. If you can stay off Facebook and Twitter, and some of these egomaniacs that work in journalism cannot do that because they spend more time promoting their stories than they do researching them. A little bit, that's edutainment for the record, right? Because that's information and a little sexual tension all in the same shot. Yeah, it's edutainment.
Exactly.
This is how you make a video go viral.
Nipples.
Nipples.